NPP parliamentary primaries that took place over the weekend, where we had some 28 incumbents losing their representation, 10 of which are ministers and deputy ministers. And of course, there were some newbies, some issues here and there. Duke Opoku-Mensah is here, and he's going to tell us all about it. He's the head of the political desk. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
Have you recovered from the marathon on Saturday? Because you were on from morning to evening, and I was like, okay, I don't know how Duke is doing this, but I mean, great insight, I must say.
Thank you.
Thank
you. You psych yourself,
I guess,
to be able to do this, and it's going to be a year-long, jamboree or rendezvous, if you like.
Tell us about it. But what are you leaning more towards? Surprise, shock, or indifferent about the elections?
A little bit of surprise, but the other things, I knew that a lot more people a lot more members of parliament would lose. Okay. That's one. And then secondly, for some of the places there were shocks. And then of course an update is 29. There's another MP of Fenso North. Okay. And then deputy minister for local government. Yeah. So it's 29. And then I have lost
29.
29.
What does that mean for those in parliament, especially for those who have lost and maybe those who are retained?
The greater picture, to paint the greater picture to you, Bella, we have 19 MPs who have decided voluntarily to step away from parliament. So 19, it used to be 18, but with Obi Amwa it became 19. And now you have 29 MPs losing at the polls. That means you have little over, you have 48 MPs who will not be coming back to parliament, right? Almost 50. Don't forget the MP has not run all the seats. There is Mampong, there is Aguna West, there are a number of
about 6 or
seats,
so, right?
6 that have not been done yet. So the casualties it could be more. So the point really is that it speaks to the kind of experience that parliament is going to lose. And to drive the point much more home in a very fascinating manner is the fact that you have 10 ministers and deputy ministers who have learned the ropes in parliament, have also a broad understanding of the portfolios that they are handling in government. Parliament will be deprived of this experience, will be deprived of this advocacy skills, will be deprived of the institutional knowledge and the institutional memory. And then you have the chairman of committees, very, very important committees. Education committee chair lost his seat. That is Amankwe Siama. Ranking member of the public accounts committee, Kofi Ochirajekum, lost his seat to Duke Oforiatta, my namesake. Your namesake, I was going to say. Did you have anything to do with that? Should we start investigating? Okay. He lost to Duke Oforiatta. You have the Works and Housing Committee chairperson, that is Isaac Isiama, Kwame Isiama, lost his seat to the cousin of the Agric Minister, Seto Sayakutu. You have Vice Chairman of the Youth Sports and Culture Committee, Eugene Entry, losing to Kofi Obriyeboa in Subin. So we've counted as many as 7. Vice Chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee, very important committee in Parliament, Elvis Morris Donko also losing his seat. So you have as many as 10 ministers and their deputies. Health Ministry, and the Health Minister, we're asking, he won his seat by 6 votes. He's lucky. He's lucky. Kwekwaji Mamenu in Doma Central won the seat. I'm surprised he ran again. I thought he was going to go the way of the other, but this should tell him it should tell the telltale signs are on the wall clearly. If he doesn't want to suffer and Ajwa suffer, probably he shouldn't run again. He shouldn't run again, because for a sitting member of parliament, a health minister, a cabinet minister for that matter, and you are winning your seat by what, 6 votes? Come on. So and this is him being unpopular even within his own party. So that should tell you that there could be a shake-up in the main elections. So clearly, there's a problem of the attrition rate, which we always talk about in parliament. So you now have almost 50 on the NPP side. The NDC side has 21, 17 incumbents lost, and 4 have decided to voluntarily leave parliament. So you put the two together, that's what, over 70, 78, almost 80. So what does that bring to us? Over a third of parliament is exiting.
But you see, I remember that even before the elections, the likes of Ursula Owusu and even Katie Hammond, for example, they had complained about lack of protection from governments because they thought that for some of the senior members in parliament, they should have been protected so that they can maintain the level of, the quality and the experience they have in parliament. That didn't happen.
I am not really, I don't pander to that
ideology.
That ideology in a way. Democracy, they are supposed to be contested, but there are other ways through which you can do it. For instance, if you can say, because you're a leader in parliament, you are ring fencing your seat, say, for the next 2 terms. After that, you are going to be contested. There are some, what do you call it, MPs as well. They've done their work so well, that that nobody wants to contest them. Okankwe Central is one example. Patrick Boma, nobody contested him because if you contest him, you will lose. There are so many examples across the country. Educhum, Bosomchi. Nobody. Matthew Opoku Prempe. So there are certain MPs who, and if you're a leader of the house and you are such a colossal figure, you should be able to have that hang over your constituency in a way that you get the protection for yourself. You get that point. So, NPP is a notoriously democratic party in the sense that it's a party of ambitious people. Not as if to say that the NDC is not. NDC is also equally has ambitious people as well. But NDC has a way of building consensus when it matters more than the NPP. NPP, they will compete.
But that's the thing. You're talking about someone having done so well, and so that should be a reason why nobody will contest them. There are cases where people have done well, but they've complained that because of the issue of moneycracy, it now becomes an issue of who has more money. And even if it's blood money, the person can still pay and win the seat.
The I'll tell you a thing. The electorates, yes, a lot of them, or some of them can be swayed by money.
Yeah.
But with the sheer force of what you have been able to do for people, you've touched people's lives over the years. Of course, the money, because of where we are going, you will have to pay. So then that complements what you have done. But some of these MPs, I don't want a situation where people the MPs will take their constituents for granted.
Yeah.
Because he says he's on the front bench and the party makes a rule that once you're on the front bench, nobody should contest you. It would rather breed infighting. And so people, if they feel that they have their constituents on their side, they would rather run independent. Would you want someone to take them out primary so that the party still maintains the seat, or an independent who decide to dilly-dally and grandstand and try to do other things? So there has to be a delicate balance has to be struck. And the parties, this is why the parties need very strong research teams. Research team, Musa Dankwa-like research teams.
Well,
and I'm giving him his flowers because almost all the things that he did, all the work he did, spot on.
It was just 2 predictions that he admitted they got wrong. But aside that, all their predictions were right. But that margin of error, it's allowed. It's understandable, yes.
So you have strong research teams on the ground who can tell you that this leader is unpopular. We need to do something to help him. This guy, he's okay. That is what the party research teams are supposed to be doing. So that they know how the sentiments, the feelings on the ground, based on data, based on information, based on statistics, based on analysis.
Are they ready? Are they ready for that? I feel like they seem to be in a bubble. And so it's really not about the real data on the ground, because some of them are very much aware of it, but they still go ahead and contest.
Like Adwoa Safo.
And they lose. Before we even come to Adwoa Safo, let's just play Andy Apiakubi's video again, where he was complaining about the issue of moneycracy and how that, unfortunately, is affecting the quality of members of parliament. Take a look.
The monetization that is coming into politics is making politics unattractive. And I tell you, and I sound this warning, if this is the way we are going to go all out, next time I will not be competing, because it's not worth spending all this kind of money and not getting anything back. Unfortunately, people think that when you go to parliament, you make money. The converse is the truth. It is an exact opposite. People who come to parliament, if you don't have any profession, you will not be able to succeed in parliament. And most of our people are losing because they didn't have the capacity, the financial resources to contest. Some of us have come through because of our professional earnings. We can continue to earn money in our professions and come and dump them in politics and even attract the insults and the undermining and the name calling. So politics is becoming unattractive. And I'm serving this note that if we don't change our ways of selection, I will not be a candidate next time. We need to select people who have the capacity and the competence and the interest and the energy to go into parliament. We don't have to pick anybody to go into. I cannot be a mason. I cannot be a carpenter, but I can be a lawyer. So if you look at my competencies, place me where I belong. Don't allow it to be an open enterprise that anybody without any preparation at all will come in, and because he has blood money, he will throw the money about and become member of parliament. He comes to parliament and he cannot perform. And I'm saying this. I'm very serious about it. Not many people will tell you what we are going through, but I'm saying it. And I think that people will take me serious. I know that the monetization will bring wrong candidates.
He cannot be a carpenter, a mason. He can be a lawyer. And so look at his competencies and select him based on that. That's Honorable Andy Appiah Kubi. He is the MP for Asante Akim North constituency, hoping to secure his third term if he should win
that's
the seat.
A very passionate appeal. I agree with him.
I have Amase in mind at this point. When we were talking about I cannot be a mason, I cannot be, because she's a hairdresser, or was maybe.
It's a big-time beautician.
Exactly.
Yes, in Akwetia.
But they brought her back.
So yes.
Interesting. But the issue of monocracy, we saw branded television sets, we saw quite a number of things, allegations of
half plots.
5,000 Ghana cedis being paid
half plots,
to delegates, and yet that person who is said to have allegedly paid that money still lost.
Motorbikes, and allegedly, I mean, the one who distributed motorbikes also lost. I mean, distributed motorbikes allegedly also lost.
Is this person going back for the motorbikes? Because remember there was a candidate that went back for the bicycles afterwards.
Yeah, but we haven't heard so far if he's going to go back for those.
We may smile about these things, but it's still an issue that needs to be fixed.
It's a big issue. So for me, I think that looking at the scale of what has happened over the period, from the NDC election to the NPP superdelegates to the election proper to orphan till now. Guys, we need to have an urgent national conversation on this. Put together a round table for the Office of the Special Prosecutor, civil society groups, the political parties, the Electoral Commission. These 5 bodies, and others. There should be an urgent meeting aimed at arriving at a roadmap to deal with monetization in our politics.
You left out the Auditor General's office.
Yes, that's fine. The Audit Service, the Auditor General.
But he's also busy trying to get into
That's the controller.
Okay, well, yes, but he's also busy. I mean, when it comes to his office as well.
Well, but I think that these people, especially over the Auditor General you're talking about, he is the one who takes the assets that are declared. And so it's an important part. These state institutions, all of them need to come together for an urgent national conversation aimed at coming up with a communique and a roadmap to deal with, to stem the tide of monetization and politics. Look, otherwise we don't seem to see the gravity of the issue. You may have a 275 chamber parliament filled with zombies, quote unquote, who are being controlled by their puppet masters from outside. We are a very resource-rich country. Multinationals can sit down and decide that we are going to plunder Ghana's what. How do we do that? Easily find ways of seeping into the political parties, sponsoring candidates, and then they'll be railing road through dubious agreements. And if we don't do something about this, it's a serious issue that needs to be dealt with. Apart from that, you are priced, as Andy Appiah Kubi said, you are pricing it above the average Joe who has the love of his constituents, who has done a lot of community mobilization and development, very popular, but he cannot go into parliament because he doesn't have the money. He doesn't have the money. And even with those who are there, you are incentivizing corruption amongst them. I always use that NDC example because I was there in Odododio on last Sunday, a week ago, where aspirants were paying 100 cedis and 200. This is even small. 100 and 200, but Bella, do the math. 2,400 delegates voted in that election. One candidate paid 100 cedis. That is 240,000 Ghana cedis. How much is an MP? An MP earns less than 20,000 in Ghana.
So where is he getting the money from?
Where is he going to get the money from? So when he goes into parliament, he would want to do shady deals, cut deals, not in the national interest. We'll get into all sorts of manipulations, and including visa racketeering and the rest, just to be able to recoup that money and be able to prepare for the next, a primary. Because once you taste the parliamentary wine, so sweet on your tongue, you can't do a lot in terms of moving away. So it's a really very, very, very serious problem that has to be dealt with. It really has to be dealt with. And I would throw the challenge out there that we need to have that important national dialogue.
Yeah.
Come up with a roadmap and implement it so that going into the next 4 years, the next election cycle, it would be on the strength and the quality of people's ideas. And not because
not
of
about how much
simple
money
solution. If you say it is for transportation, all the aspirants come together, contribute to a pool that would be given
to sort out
to give people as transportation to go home.
That's what I was saying. I don't even know how to describe maybe a TV set or a motorbike. Well, motorbike you can use that for transport, but a TV set, for example, because constantly when you speak to these contenders and contestants, they tell you, "Oh, it was just transport I was given." How do you justify giving a TV set then? What would be the excuse for that?
Amusement. He wants to keep them informed so that they will know.
They should keep watching.
Yes, so that they will know what.
Do they all have electricity, by the way? Because they need to plug the TV sets and
that's another issue. So it's a really, really, really big issue. This issue of monocracy, it has to be dealt with. And this is my solution. I think that all the agencies concerned, political parties, should come together and do that. And maybe we can take up the challenge. Maybe we should do a thought leadership on this.
I agree.
Yeah, it's very important.
I agree.
Bring all of and let's look at practical ways of dealing with this monocracy, because it's a problem.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a big deal.
But let's take a look at the casualties on Saturday. And
29.
Smiling. 29.
29.
Unbelievable.
29.
Did you expect the number to be more?
No, I mean I was expecting at 15, 20, but 29 over. The delegates were much more angrier.
I think so. I expected them to be angrier in other constituencies as well. For some reason, some incumbents scale through. But let's take a look at the casualties.
Joseph Kujo, been in Parliament since 2012. He's the MP. He's the only MP Ifia constituency I've ever known since that constituency was created. It was Ifia Kwesimin was split in 2012. So Joseph Kujo, not fourth time lucky. He will not get a fourth term. Lawyer Yabuama managed to get him out from that constituency. So Kwesi Afrifa, that is the man who suffered, allegedly suffered to the land doling out scheme. You know, he lost to Yaya Kasim. Yaya Kasim, I'm told, is the CEO of Cass Estate, and he's the one promising.
He's the one promising
He's the one promising half plot to delegates.
How many delegates in total were there? Do you know the numbers? We want to calculate.
1,500 delegates in Amasaman. So you can imagine.
Well, I guess not all of them will get it. It will be only those who voted for him.
And
how do
you show evidence of those who voted for him? So Akwesi Afrifa, he used to be chairman of, used to be MD for the Ghana School Feeding Program.
Okay.
Akwesi Dako Boatin, one-term MP. So Akwesi Afrifa was also one-term MP. He's also a one-term MP. Bosomefra, who's lost to a gentleman I know very well, who's Grassac president during our time at Legon. Nana Asafo Aye.
Okay.
Bosomefra, yes. Amapoma Boatin, yes. It was one of the most, quiet, very humble MPs you'd ever find. But sometimes it takes more than humility in politics. And she's lost the Dwabin seat. Dwabin seat, very, very important to the NPP. Yeah. Dwabin is the hometown of Professor Dubois, the first ever candidate of the NPP. Yeah. So, Amapoma Boatin has lost that seat. And then Asay Mahama, the one who allegedly distributed motorbikes, Daboya Mankarego, this is a swing seat. So, Samuel Yeyutika, who is deputy CEO of the Minerals Commission, he managed to beat Asay Mahama. Okay. So, he would have a lot of work to do in trying to retain that seat, which previously used to be that belonged to the end. And this is Bribe Kubro, the Deputy Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, lost to the MD for the Ghana Exim Bank. That is the man, Mr. Lawrence Ajinsem. Yes, so Bright, after 2 terms, will not be returning to Parliament.
I see.
Dr. Adomako Kisi lost to Emmanuel Tobin, CEO of Ascot Pharmacy.
Are you surprised about him in particular? I mean, there were statements indicating that he had recently, spoken against some policies in government. Yeah. So they are not surprised that he became a casualty.
He has always been a lone ranger.
Yeah.
Adomako never, for me, really, Public Accounts Committee, Health Committee. I mean, he's a smart doctor. But he also tell you that he's a contrarian.
Exactly.
And he suffered for that. I mean, for someone who took over the seat of the Foreign Affairs Minister.
Exactly.
Someone would have expected that he would at least get a deputy ministerial position or something. You know, these things, you know, they increase your, they prop up your gravitas and what you're able to do to help your constituents. But he did not get into any parliamentary position, neither did. And then coupled with that, he didn't clearly seem to have stuck his neck out for Baumia you know. So all of these things count. So I wasn't really surprised, but and to think that Emmanuel Tobin contested him the first time he won. So it was a rematch of what transpired previously.
Anyway.
And Elvis Morris Donko has lost his seat. Felix Kwachofo will be smiling because he's the gentleman who beat Felix the last time. And he lost to a man, he lost to a gentleman whose name is very, very, I like his name. His name is Etuduru.
Etuduru
is gunpowder.
Oh, Etuduru is gunpowder.
Yes. So the fancy version of Etuduru is Etuduru.
So, Etuduru. So there'll be a showdown.
Yes. Etuduru Kwabena managed to beat Elvis Morris. So it will be between Etuduru and Felix.
What's Felix's nickname, by the way? Let's see. Is
in the constituency, I don't know. So, yes, and Kwesi Jemfi. Kwesi Jemfi has been in Parliament since 2004 and is the chairman of the local government committee. Kwesi Jemfi has been in Parliament since 2004, but he lost the Odotobri seat to lawyer Anthony Meir. Anthony Meir contested the last time, he didn't win, but this time it's been second time lucky. Yeah. So he's beating Manuel Kwesi Jemfi. And the Eugene was one of the shocks for me as well. Not only because he lost, but the margin which he lost. But Eugene, the renegade, was part of the renegades against Kenoforiata. So
no, but if you think about it,
Andy Appiah is the face. He was complaining.
Well, yes,
because he was almost priced out.
I see.
People with big money came into his cause, but he survived. But Eugene did not survive, unfortunately.
How unfortunate?
My good friend Ugas did not survive. And yeah, I mean,
it is well.
Yes, it is well, and of course. But if I mean another contrarian, Eugene always wants to stand out for the right reason. Always wants to, and you know, in our politics,
if you stand out,
Frida
you get booted out.
I wasn't so surprised.
You weren't?
No, I was not surprised by Frida Prempeh.
Well, so she is one of the
minister for sanitation.
Yes, she's one of the people that Global Info Analytics thought that she could maintain her seat, her representation. For some reason, Gideon gave her a showdown.
Yes, Gideon Wako is coming from
the vice president.
The vice president's boys needed to make a statement. They needed to show that indeed their people are in charge. Amason Kwanta is notorious for producing one-term MPs, and they did it once again. So George Obintechi lost his seat and he will not be returning to Parliament. And another one, Gifty Chumampofu, looks like the honeymoon is over. Gifty Chumampofu replaced the late J.B. Dankwedu. So the first time she did not have a competition. Usually it's an unspoken rule when it comes to by-elections, but she got a real test this time. And a man popularly known as Buffalo, Nana J. Frimpong, beating me in the Ibuakwa North constituency.
Well, she's a deputy minister for education in charge of TVET, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and then Zabzuru constituency, John Benham, former deputy Northern Regional Minister. He will not be returning to Parliament. The deputy chief of staff, Fawaz Aliu, did the do, if you like, managed to oust him. And then the chairman of the education committee, Kwabena Mankwesiama, in the Fantiakwa North constituency will not be returning.
Right. Well, I'll let you hold on because we have Christopher Amwako on the line and we want some updates on the Yendi constituency elections. Hello, Christopher. Good morning.
Good morning, Bella.
How are you?
By the grace of God, I'm good. Yourself?
I'm great. Thank you very much. Is there any updates on the Yendi elections this morning?
Yes. So this morning, the only thing we can say is that the supporters of the two aspirants are still waiting patiently for the National Executive Committee to make a statement or make a declaration on the fate of the Yendi constituency parliamentary candidature because each of the two aspirants are claiming to have won the Saturday's election. So there's still uncertainty, and so the front is sharply divided.
Interesting, but just let's take a walk back to exactly what happened that led to this confusion. I mean, there were ballot papers that were being torn by some of the delegates who were around. Which faction caused this?
Yes, so for the start of the confusion, it was the Abipata team that alleged that one of the EC officers was putting some of the ballot papers belonging to Abibata. After the sorting, he was holding the ballot papers belonging to Abibata, and so they alleged that he was hiding some of them in his jacket, the EC jacket. So the security and the other EC officials were alerted, and while they were trying to resolve that issue, someone allegedly also brought in or sneaked in some ballot papers that had stamps on Farouk's ballot area. So it further aggravated the whole issue, and there was a scuffle. So the Abibata team, who were angry, picked the ballot papers and started tearing them. So that was exactly what happened, and the situation escalated, leading to an abrupt end of the counting process, and the ballot boxes, including the ballot papers, were moved to the Yengi Municipal Police Station.
Very unfortunate, but thank you for the update, Christopher, and I'm sure you'll be joining us again on Midday News to give us some more updates. Thank you. All right, so, well, that was Christopher also indicating that we're still waiting for NEC to make a statement on this matter. But let's come to you. I mean, we've looked at the casualties. I just want to get your top 5 observations from the CS election. Number
1, elections, parliamentary actions have consequences, right? Parliamentary actions have consequences. The case of Adwoa Safo, if it were to be for an academic paper or a thesis, that would be there. That would be. Yes. For me, I mean, it's unfortunate that for a woman of Adwoa Safo's political caliber could not read the signs of the war and thought that, I mean, she could just railroad her way through and get back into parliament after all that had happened in the past few years. This should also tell every politician that there's a greater consciousness when it comes to political savviness by delegates and persons across the country, especially the delegates. And so that is the message, very powerful out there, that if you're an MP, whatever you do, the delegates, if they decide that they will come for you, they will come for you and they will humiliate you. It's humiliation, 1,194 to almost 328. For a former deputy majority leader, come on.
A former minister.
Former minister, procurement minister, gender minister. It's very humiliating. And I think that Okwe, of course, must have been happy and done all of that, but he also needs to do his homework very well.
Well, he does.
Because there are places in Dom Kwabenya that Adwoa and a father and the church controls heavily.
Hold on,
So if he wants to maximize his votes, and the Bamia team would have to make that a project, because Dom Kwabenya is the largest constituency in the country. Number 2, the MPP's face is changing, and it's changing fast. If we were having this conversation 2 years ago, between the MPP and the NDC, in terms of the youthful side, young people being given the leadership baton, NDC would always crop it up over the MP. MPP prefers conservative, older people and the rest. But we are seeing that changing. A lot of young people won. Mike Ledwin of Fori Chrome, and now Bosome Freho and others. Number 3, monetization. That one we've had a conversation about it. Number 4 would be the fact that very soon we could be having a couple, married couple in parliament. We have had co-parents, we've had brothers. In the next parliament, we could have...
from one side or from both sides?
From one side.
From one side.
So, Esikado Ketan, Charles Bisu won.
And his wife is also
and the wife is also representing Ablekuma.
Okankwe North, sorry.
Okankwe North.
Yes. Fuseni is former.
Fuseni is there. And then, of course, number 5, the New Patriotic Party deliberately has to put in place a mentorship scheme for their members going into the next election. They've lost almost 50. Varying experience going. So before they leave, there should be a deliberate passing over of knowledge, experience. Otherwise, their team will suffer because the NDC they've just lost 21.
But they still have almost
yes. So it's an important thing that the NPP has to do if they still want to maintain that groundswell, whether in opposition or in government from 2020.
Thank you so much, Duke, for joining us. Duke Opoku-Mensah, always giving us some, details about the elections. And I'm sure he'll join us subsequently for some more. But before we go, let's just remind you that we're cashing out this morning, and you could also win 1,000 Ghana cedis. Cool chop. All you have to do is to play the game and win. It's *438# #439#. *439#. Select option 2 and you are good to go. And so congratulations to you. This is your number 0244 286 ***. 0244 286 ***. Congratulations, you just won 1,000 Ghana cedis, just like that. And now it's not only reserved for MTN subscribers. If you're a Vodafone subscriber, you can also play the game and win. No restrictions at all. Just relax and watch your number pop up on the screen. Well, we'll come back with some more right here on the show. We're continuing the conversation about NSS personnel and the challenges that they're facing. And we have one of their heads here to give us insight into that. And so keep watching. This is TV3 New Day.